Specifically, so this late court filing on Friday showed a former aide to Mark Meadows has pointed the finger at multiple Republican lawmakers who were strategizing with the Trump administration for ways to keep Joe Biden from assuming the presidency. The filing included what's her name? Cassidy Hutchinson? Is that her name?
You got it, yeah.
Included the names of lawmakers who were frequently present in meetings regarding overturning the election, as well as discussions of how to replace the leadership of the Justice Department with figures who would sow doubts about the legitimacy of the election. Lawmakers who attended, they mentioned Scott Perry, of Republican of Pennsylvania, Louis Gohmert, of course, Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz, numerous other members of the House Freedom Caucus. So, Allison, what's your take on, you read this stuff and you're like, okay, why have they not been subpoenaed yet? Is it House members don't want to subpoena their own? Are they under investigation at the DOJ? But they clearly were all a part of this, sitting members.
Yeah, and unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on what side of the aisle you're on, we have the speech or debate clause in the Constitution of the United States, which means that you doing something as a member of Congress can't be protected. Now, we do know that the DOJ came out without filing saying, Mo Brooks, no, you're not protected by speech or debate clause when you're campaigning.
Yeah.
And so that's why there's such a focus on whether or not this was campaign activity or whether this was political discourse. And so I think that's going to be the bigger question. Now, as far as getting the truth out to the American people, we just need to know which Congress people were involved. But as far as criminal culpability, if the Department of Justice can show that they were working for the Trump campaign and not as part of their jobs or in furtherance of a plot to overthrow the government, I don't think the Department of Justice is going to say, well, they're protected, their speech is protected, because they've said the opposite so far with that Mo Brooks decertification for his lawsuit.
Yeah. Mark Meadows seems to be up to Mike Pence's albino eyebrows in this, don't you think?
Mike Pence is up to his albino eyebrows in this.
One or the other, up to Mark Meadows' albino eyebrows, something. Same court filing. It could prove the White House's intent in the campaign to create the alternate slate of electors, or as we like to say, fraudulent.
Yeah.
The Select Committee obtained the testimony that Trump's former chief of staff was told that the White House was told by the White House counsel the plot was unlawful. So again, the same White House aide, Cassidy Hutchinson, said she was asked, at any of the meetings with individuals from outside the White House or the executive branch, did the White House counsel's office express an opinion as to whether the plan to have electors for Trump meet and cast electoral college votes in states that Trump had lost was legal? Hutchinson said yes. Once again, those present, Meadows, Rudy Giuliani, White House counsel Pat Cipollone. I mean, again, it goes to not just consciousness of guilt, right? You're told this is illegal and you go ahead with it anyway. Mm-hmm. What's your take on what's going to happen and when to Mark Meadows?
Well, Mark Meadows is now criminally culpable. Whether or not Trump is the question. Yeah. And whether or not Trump can say, no one told me, or I wasn't listening, or I don't understand words, from 800 different people telling him that he lost.
I have all the best words, so no one else has them, so no one could tell me anything.
But I think probably the most culpability that he faces is in that call to Raffensperger.
Yeah.
When he said, sure, I won Georgia by 400,000 votes at least, but I only need 11,780. That shows he knew he didn't win the election. And that's where that corrupt intent comes in, which is going to be very, very important for criminal culpability. And again, I love the committee and I love what they're doing and they're going to get the truth out there. But where the rubber meets the road is the Department of Justice and what they do and whether or not they find criminal culpability here.
Yeah. Colonel Steve Austin is chewing his bone, not the console. So you just calm down. This is not in your area of purview.
I thought it was the garbage
This is
can.
not of your
Yeah,
business.
It sounds like the garbage can.
It's the bone. I love it.
And it was interrupting AG and
It
her
is the
excellent
bone.
point.
Colonel Steve Austin is a good boy chewing his bone. Okay. Mark Meadows.
Is he?
Is he a good boy?
Or is that your femur? It is not my femur. Could be Travis's femur. Who can tell?
be,
yeah.
Okay.
It's a human
It could
femur,
be Travis's
Ray.
bone.
Here's another thing. Mark Meadows spent many of his final days as Trump's chief of staff railing against election fraud, which he and other Republicans falsely claimed tipped the 2020 election to Biden. Meadows and his wife, Deborah. Hi, I'm Debbie Meadows. Hi.
Hi. Please and thank you.
We don't live in a double wide in North Carolina.
They submitted registrations to vote in North Carolina, all while being registered to vote in Virginia and South Carolina.
Yep.
That's three states. So, like the black lady that merely tried to register to vote and went to prison, Anything going to happen? Anything, Bueller?
First of all, finally, they just dropped the charges against her,
Yeah.
Pamela.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I hope so, because this is clearly voter fraud, and no one should be above the law. Equal justice under the law. And I just think it's who was the person that was offering a monetary reward for voter fraud proof?
Texas AG?
Because we have some.
Yeah.
Was it Mark Meadows? It could have been. Okay.
We have some.
Why are you hitting yourself? Okay. Robert in Florida. You on with AG. How you doing?
Hey, buongiorno, everybody.
Well, how's it going?
Hey, Allison, nice to meet you. Nice. I'm going to start reading more on you. What's the name of your place again? Where do I find your...
MSWmedia.com.
The Daily Beans.
Daily
Okay.
Beans.
All right. Hey, that Drakkar stuff works. Chris
It does
and,
not work.
Drakkar.
Drakkar Noir does not work.
They got me a girlfriend in the 90s.
I got Scary Mary with that stuff. I landed a big
God.
one there.
It got you all the so you could eat in the 90s.
Yeah, great.
That's right. Okay, well, anyways, I called about the Secret Service. You know what? From the moment Trump was nominated, he did not want the Secret Service around him until he, whatchamacallit, it was past a certain point, and he was the president, because he didn't want people around that could say, hey, you know what, he's a criminal. Because they are police officers at a certain point, And
Yeah.
the other thing I want to say is that he overbilled the Secret Service. We need to have the director of the Secret Service in front of the Congress and say, well, why did you pay 300, X amount of millions of dollars allocated for golf carts? Why can't you just buy one golf cart, leave it around the corner? When he comes in, you bring it onto the property, use that one.
All right. That'll be fantastic if he goes to get jail for golf cart abuse. I don't know. I'll take anything at this point, right?
Yeah. Isn't that what Capone went down for?
Yes.
Yeah.
Golf
Yeah.
cart
Golf
abuse.
cart?
Yeah. Yeah, by the way, so speaking of Secret Service warned the White House of Capitol violence 2 days before the attack. Trump ignored it. That's also in the
Yeah,
court
and
filing.
that's why he makes a good point. He's like,
Yeah.
he doesn't want Secret Service around. Like, just like why he hasn't filed to run for president again. All
Yeah.
his finances will be under FEC
Right.
eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is also from the deposition. I just remember Mr. Ornato coming in and saying we had intel reports saying there could potentially be violence on the 6th. And Mr. Meadows said, oh, all right, let's talk about it. But despite this and other warnings, Trump urged the attendees of the January 6th rally to march to the Capitol to take back your country, said the court filing. Despite urgent pleas from Capitol Hill and many of Trump's supporters, Trump did not act immediately to publicly ask or instruct the violent rioters to leave the Capitol. It's also now clear Trump never telephoned the Secretary of Defense that day to order the deployment of National Guard, never contacted any federal law enforcement agency to order security assistance to the Capitol. Certain text communications with members of Congress suggest Meadows himself pushed for Pence to take unilateral action to reject the counting of electoral votes. I mean, I think... How do we fight against bombshell fatigue? Because any of those would be a big story. This text, that court testimony, this, and it all just becomes like, oh, okay.
Well, hopefully when, Raskin is great and amazing, and everyone on that committee is amazing. They've got a team of 40 former DOJ folks. Doug Letter's there. They're all amazing. They're going to be able to put on this case. And it's going to be clear beyond a preponderance of the evidence that Trump knew there'd be violence, and he wanted the violence to stop the electoral count, to go after Pence. That's what he wanted. That was his intent. We're going to be able to do it beyond a preponderance. What the American people want to know is whether you can do it beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah,